Alright, I am back with another video. If you're new to my channel, my name is Laurée, and I am going through all 144 Sun-Moon combinations, starting with Sagittarius season. The moon just entered Leo this morning, Mountain Standard Time, so depending on where you are in the world, it may be a different time or even a different day. So it just entered Leo, and it's going to be in Leo until Sunday early afternoon. So any baby that is born between now and about between noon and 1 p.m. Sunday will have a Sagittarius Sun and a Leo Moon. So I want to uncover what that looks like in a pair, and that's what I'm doing with all of these combinations, because the Sun and Moon can sometimes work together in harmony and they're not very conflicting, and other times they can be in opposition or square each other and just be vastly different. And it's important to talk about how they play off of each other in order to better understand yourself and others. So let's get started. So if you have a Sagittarius Sun, you're fun, optimistic, idealistic, you're a big picture kind of person. You love adventures and you really do not like being tied down. You want to have your adventures and you want to have your freedom, and so you don't like being controlled or tied down in any way. Because of this, Sagittarius tend to take their sweet time in settling down. And again, that depends on your Venus sign and how you are in a relationship, but you can kind of get an idea of the person's like identity and their emotions, and that does play a big role in whether they settle down in a relationship or not. And Sagittarius is a placement that is notorious for just ghosting, not being tied down. The best description I've heard about the best way to describe Sagittarius is like trying to nail jello to a tree, and that's pretty much sums them up. So this may be less so the case with the Leo Moon, but it's still a highly individualistic placement. And so while they will get into relationships, a lot of Sagittarius will, they take their time in assessing whether this person will add to their life or take away from their life, specifically their freedom and their individuality and getting to do what they want to do. And so if they take their time trying to figure out if this person that they're wanting to potentially date and be in a committed relationship with, or not, if you're Sagittarius, then they're trying to figure out if this person will infringe on their freedom, if they're better off being single, or they just take a long time figuring it out because they don't want to be like, they don't want to have the ball and chain. Sagittarius also have a really great sense of humor and are very blunt. They tend to kind of go about their bluntness and insulting people, and they can tend to offend people. They go about it in a humorous way. So now we get to the Leo Moon. Now these are both fire signs, and all fire signs are trying each other, which is a very harmonious relationship. So this isn't a moon placement that is going to conflict with the sun sign very much, which makes it easier for me to talk about. And so if you have a Leo moon, it's a very energetic, charismatic, vivacious placement. And they're very passionate. They love to be like the center of attention, and they are quick learners, and they do adapt if it's something that they want to adapt to, though, because again, that comes from being passionate. And it's about that's the thing I talked about with like Sagittarius Sun and an Aries Moon is like the fire signs in general. They are very passionate, but people tend to kind of blanket them with just being passionate, but they're not passionate about everything, right? And so they're very passionate about when it's something that they're interested in, it's something they enjoy. And so they're passionate when they're passionate, but if they aren't interested in it and they're not passionate about it, they will probably dig their heels in, and they'll be very stubborn, and they just don't have the patience to do it. So they're very passionate about what they actually want to be passionate about, what they're passionate about, and they're not passionate about, and it's the complete flip side of that, where they have no patience and just no energy and cannot be bothered to do something that doesn't interest them. So the Leo Moon is a placement that's very social and has a good sense of humor, which will really accentuate and play off of the sense of humor of Sagittarius Sun. They're less likely, though, to have an insulting kind of sense of humor, because they are more people than and Sagittarius tend to be, like I mentioned, they tend to be quite blunt and kind of insult people in a humorous way. And so I think that this may kind of tone down that side of the Sagittarius humor, and it may be more kind. Now, the Leo Moon is also a placement that is very motivated by status and recognition. Like I mentioned, they want to be the center of attention, and so they want status and things that will automatically make them to be the center of attention. And if Leo moons aren't careful, this is a placement that can become quite egotistical and vain and possibly superficial and just quite self-centered and possibly bossy. So all placements have their strengths and weaknesses, and they have their negative tendencies, and that really just depends on how evolved the person is, how evolved they are in those placements. And so the negative tendencies of someone with a Leo moon, if they're not properly evolved, is they can slip into being vain and self-centered and egotistical and quite bossy, and it may lead to them being quite overbearing because they have a Sagittarius Sun and a Leo moon, and it's this double fire placement. And so it is kind of a tendency of fire placements in general to become kind of hot-tempered, overbearing, and just want their way and just very fiery. And so these are tendencies where if they're not properly evolved, that's what they could slip into. So, but overall, this is a pair that is very vivacious, very energetic, and exuberant, and very passionate about what they're passionate about. And then they are very charismatic, and they have probably like the life of the party. Like, they like to have fun, they're very charismatic, they're good with people, and they like to have fun and go on adventures, and they have a good sense of humor. So it's a very life of the party, fun sign. Leo's a placement that needs compliments and needs like praise and affirmations to like thrive, and that tends to be like what inflates their ego and makes them feel good about themselves. And there's a balance between like a healthy sense of self and then the egotistical side. So it's a balancing act. And Leos tend to get a bad rap for being, like I mentioned, like, oh, egotistical, oh, they're so self-centered. But the healthy Leo placements, again, the ones that are evolved, tend to are very loyal and very loving and very generous placements. And so it does really depend on how evolved the person is and how much they keep their ego in check. And it helps to have like that loving home base around them, like whether it's family or friends, have these people around them that kind of validate them in a healthy amount. And then I feel like because they feel like fulfilled themselves from like other people, then they're able to give that to other people, right? Versus if Leos don't get any like praise or affirmations or any sort of positive reinforcement from the people around them, that's where I think they slip into that kind of egotistical and almost like narcissistic tendencies, because they are like have kind of this hole inside of them and they feel insecure, and so they take it out on someone else. So that is everything I have planned for today's video. I hope you enjoyed it. This is a really vivacious, energetic pair, and coming up on Sunday we have Sagittarius Sun, Virgo Moon. That's going to be interesting. I'm not a fan of Virgo placements, but I will do my best to cover them impartially. So yeah. I'm also going to be making videos about the upcoming transits that we have in the next coming weeks. I'll get around to them. Not exactly sure what day I'll be posting them, but we have the full solar eclipse on the 14th, and then we have the great conjunction of Saturn and Jupiter, and I want to be talking about all of the things that will be happening with that. So I'll be covering those in the next couple days, I hope. So stay tuned for lots of more great content, all things astrology. And if you have anything that you would like to learn, please drop a comment, or I will leave links in the description to my private Facebook group. That will be the best place to talk with me and contact me and learn even more about astrology, because I post more in there. Not everything that I make makes it onto YouTube, because not everything that I make to teach astrology is a video. So links in the description, so make sure you check out the private Facebook group, and that's going to be the best way to put your input into what I make. I'm planning this free astrology training that I'm wanting to make, and I'm wanting to make it the best that it can be, and I need people's input as to what they want to learn. So that's everything. Stay tuned for more, and I will be back later this weekend with another video.